I'm standing right outside of a very nice restaurant called the Ritz Restaurants in London here. And no, I didn't go in, I did not choose to experience the inside of the restaurant because I don't really care, right? Usually when I come across places like these and stuff, the first thing that is on my mind is that what makes it easy for some people to be able to easily have access to these places, meaning have the resources to be able to enjoy these spaces. And there are people all over the world, not only in this country, but there are people, because I just passed some homeless people as well, right? Not only in this country, but in cultures and ethnicities all over the world, right? That people do not have the resources to experience things and places like this, right? So these are the questions that are always on my mind, right? So we can probably justify it by saying, hey, it is some people's karma, right? Cause and effect that would allow them the resources in this life to experience these things. And it is other people's karma, right? To not be able to experience this lifestyle or places like this in this life, right? Some might explain it as that, right? So the law of cause and effect can be used to explain inequalities in the world, but that's not where the law of cause and effect stops, right? The law of cause and effects or karma is not simply saying, right? It's not simply saying, hey, this is your karma. And this is a conversation that I raised with the guy who was trying to convert me to Islam too, and I asked him about his thoughts on karma and reincarnation and stuff. He's like we shouldn't, he didn't say whether it's real or not, right? This is how he answered it. He's like, we shouldn't think about life in terms of karma and reincarnation, because if it is that we see someone suffer on the side of the road, the same question that I'm asking, right? Why are some people to the side of the road, and why are some people able to afford the restaurants, going into restaurants like the Ritz here behind me, right? So he's like, if we see somebody to the side of the road, we are more inclined to say, hey, that's that person's karma, or that's because of that person's past life that he's on the street, right? Versus if we see a happy, healthy person enjoying, and also if we see a happy person enjoying the restaurants, we'd be like, hey, well, they did something good in their past life or this life to attain that, right? Now, whilst this might be true to an extent, right, it is not a reason to not believe in the law of cause and effect, right? It is not a reason to not to think that this is not true, right? And I'll go on to explain what I mean by this, right? Now, the law of cause, understanding the law of cause and effect is not simply saying, hey, that person did something wrong in their last life and that's why they ended up on the street, right? The law of cause and effect state that whatever we do at this moment in time going forward has the capacity to change things, right? The essence of the law of cause and effect is not simply saying, hey, this person did that wrong, or I did something wrong that put me in this position and I must accept that condition as it is, right? The law of cause and effect also state that whatever I do in this present moment in time, right, whatever action I engage in this present moment in time has the capacity to influence what I experience in my future, right? So seeing someone at the fact that karma exists, the law of cause and effect exists, right? Shouldn't, and this was another form of manipulation that was being used when I asked the Muslim guy, hey, what's your view on karma and so on, and he said his response was basically, you should not think about life this way, because if you see somebody disabled, you're more inclined to have less empathy for that person, and that is not true, right? Just because you believe in karma or the law of cause and effect doesn't mean that everybody you see suffer. Yeah, yeah, just because you believe in the law of cause and effect does not mean that, hey, everybody you see suffering in this life, that you're going to watch them and be like, haha, you deserve this because you do some shit wrong in your last life, or you do some shit wrong in this life, right? Empathy doesn't, the fact that someone is suffering should not make you less empathetic towards them, right? Or because you believe or know the law of karma to be true, because you know the law of karma to be true, that does not take away from the fact that, hey, you cannot be empathetic to someone who you see suffering, right? Because the law of karma not only says that the conditions we experience today are a result of our past action or present action, but the law of karma also says that whatever we do today can influence our future, direct our future going forward, pointing to the essence of free will, pointing to the reality of free will in our everyday experience, right? Pointing to our free will in everyday experience, right? So this video is not simply about the divide and conquer strategy, manipulate methods of manipulation, but is weaving everything together with the law of cause and effect, karma, religion, and all these different concepts being weaved together to bring together the bigger picture and an understanding of our current reality. So going back to the question of why are there certain people who are able to afford places like these, and then right next to it, right next door, right, there are homeless people on the streets, and why are certain people unable to afford or simply born in countries like this and next door to countries like this as war-torn countries that wake up to violence every day, right? Human beings who wake up to violence through wars every day, right? Back to this question and back to free will, and what can we do as people, as free will agents? What can we do, right? And that is that it all boils back down to this whole concept of human authority. It all boils back down to the concept of human authority and our belief or our everyday justifications, bullshit justifications that we use to justify human authority, right? Our belief system in human authority, because it is largely our illusory belief systems in human authority that is responsible for all the inequalities that we see in the world. We are responsible for all the inequalities that is happening in the world right now, right? And I wouldn't even go to say we at this point. I will say you, right? You, because I have done my best thus far to withdraw myself from participating in these organizations and have been doing my part to contribute to a free society, to the establishment of a free society. So I will not include myself in that category anymore, right? Because I have been doing my part. So I will say that you, right? Personal responsibility, right? You must accept your personal responsibility in this game of contributing to the inequalities, to the karmic inequalities, right? To the inequality in resource distribution, right? And the fact that there are some suffering and there are some thriving, right? To the fact that there are some who have zero resources versus the fact that others have unlimited resources, right? You are responsible, and it's about time people start taking personal responsibility for their belief in the grand illusion that exists in our 3D reality. Yeah, so in case people wonder like why sometimes I choose not to do certain things in life, or I prefer not to do certain things. My life is a very nuanced and intricate one, and also a very simple one, which not many people will actually understand, right? Why I choose to do certain things, and why the details of why I choose to do certain things, why I choose not to do certain things, down to the very minute details of it, right? And this whole concept of human inequality and inequality throughout the world, right, is one of the main reasons that I sink into bouts of depression many times, right? Why I sink into bouts of depression many times, and speaking out about it has actually helped a great deal, right? Um, so sometimes it doesn't help to have people around you who be like, oh well, just be positive, just be positive. What is there to be positive about in this world, right? What is there to actually be positive about in this world when the entire world is actually fake, right? And people prefer to live in their own illusory bubble, right, than to see reality for what it is, right? People rather live in their own illusory bubble of what can this do for me, right? What can I gain out of this? What can I get out of this, rather than, hey, how can this experience help me to better the world around me, right? How can this experience help me to better the entire world around me, right? And that's why positive thinking and happiness is actually a very big industry. Huge amounts of money is made throughout the world. That is actually how the world go around, right? For those of you who are unaware of this, right? And it's a very simple thing, right? Capitalize on what you think is going to make people happy and sell it, right? Capitalize on what you think is going to make people happy and sell it, right?